writing and working on stuff yourself, once you were in this rush mode to get Real Brothers done, did you um at this point, of course, you've been writing raps for years. Did you
Mhm.
feel pressure, or was it so much natural to you at this point that it was just like a normal thing for you?
It was a little pressure. It was a little pressure sometime because now I have people like DJ Quick, you know what I'm saying, that's gonna critique what I'm doing, you know what I mean? Domino, and then the competition that we had on the other side, Snoop Dogg. They got Dr. Dre, bro. You know what I'm saying? They got these funky ass beats, like, and I'm like, damn, bro, like, so it was that kind of pressure for me, like how to make sure that we make an impact like everybody else was. But as far as coming up with the lyrics and the themes of the songs, I mean, I was rapping the age and the mentality that I was at that moment. You know what I mean? So I don't think that that would have ever changed at that time because I was in that zone in that age in that space mentally that that's what came out at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad we're talking about this album because it was answering some mysteries. Because even like on Jealousy, you're like still down with Eazy-E
Mm-hmm.
or still down with Easy. I just remember like that just added a whole other layer. Like, okay, well, I know that he's passing away and all this stuff, but I was like, man, what is going on? It was
Yeah.
such a mystery to me of what was happening.
Yeah, that the thing, like I said, it was his friends, bro, like Big Daddy Pat and Jim Bob, who brought us to him. They had their thing, they're falling out, but that didn't deter us, from
Right.
messing with Easy. They couldn't tell us what we could do and what we couldn't do. So
So you're uh one of the guys that spent a couple years around him and saw a lot of what he did or whatever. I happen to think he is, if not the best, one of the best talent scouts. Obviously, he signed a lot of artists, some of
hmm
who were not successful, but the ones that hit really hit. So,
yeah,
being around him, what did you notice about him that maybe was different from the other people you've been around before him and after him? What made him so special?
the special thing about him was the opportunity he gave. Like, if you think about the people that came up under him, bro, like that he allowed to make a record and put their record out. They're so different from the At Band Clan, which is will.i.am them, the Black Eyed Peas. And then you had Stefan. I don't know if you remember him.
Oh
He had
yeah,
a song called Frostbit. And then he had Yomo and Marky.
yeah.
I think Yomo or Mark, I don't know. I think it was Yomo who was singing on that always into something, like rapping like the reggae person. Like these dudes they were so different. You know what I'm saying? He had Blood of Abraham. I think they was from Seattle or something. He just gave people opportunity because I guess, putting out JJ Fad, you got to think JJ Fad came out as one of the first artists after N.W.A. on Ruthless, and they had success. And it didn't go along with nothing that was ruthless. It wasn't nothing ruthless about Supersonic. You know what I mean?
Other than Dr. Dre did the remix, that's about
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so it was like I think he was more well-rounded musically than most people that I came across, and I think he knew that sometimes when you just because you don't like something don't mean somebody else ain't gonna like it. You know what I mean? And so I kind of got that from him as well. And that was a big thing for me when I seen Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't recall too many people rapping fast like that outside of Twista.
Yeah, no, they and harmonizing. That's
Yeah,
literally
and harmonizing that was the great part about it. You know what I'm saying? But everybody tried that fast style, but it wasn't locked in like that. You know what I mean? Like you would hear it here and there, and not even a whole rap. You know what I'm saying? People would do it for a little bit inside their rap, but they didn't do it the whole fucking way. So I think he saw that in me as well. And the fact that, Bone had the success after they came over there. Because even the guy who was doing the album with them came around when we came around. He just didn't get any placements until they came.
unique, you
Yeah,
mean?
Unique. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He came around the same time with us. We
Oh,
was all
really?
up there trying to get signed and all that together.
No, unique is phenomenal. But I also think it's interesting with the harmonizing because much earlier in the conversation you had mentioned Compton's in the house, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember that like you had mentioned, Ren and Dre in particular did a lot of harmonizing,
Yeah.
and people I think kind of forget about that. But it reminded me of going back to a Run DMC or even going back to like the Cold Crush and all the tapes
Mm-hmm.
that I would get in the Treacherous Three and all that. They harmonized a lot,
Okay.
and when I remember hearing Dre and Ren doing it, I was like, man, they're not doing it nearly as fast, but they're doing it in a similar way that
Yeah.
hadn't been done in several years. And then Bone just exploded
Yeah.
it. They
You got to think because we grew up listening to oldies, bro. R&B, classic R&B music, all those old school jams. That stuff is in us. And then most of hip hop got sampled by, was
right,
those records were sampled by hip hop too. You know what I mean? So not can't be too surprised that people was doing that so early.
yeah, yeah. No, it
Yeah.
was great. Okay, so then with getting off Outburst with the situation with the gun, pulling the gun and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did that, and then losing kind of your love for the music, do you think that helped or made you spiral or get more into the streets and leave music, or like, was that what happened?
Yeah, because you got to think once Easy passed away, um, that was just like that's what took the wind out of me. He died, and like we had a lot of things going on with him, bro. Like I said, we knew we was going back to Ruthless. We knew that. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a mystery to us. Um, we was doing movies. He was having movies developed with us in it. All this overseas stuff, and then my manager would tell me little things to let me know that Easy was actually grooming me to come over there and be the label head.
Hmm.
He wanted to venture off into other things. You know what I'm saying? And just all of those things. Like once I came to know that, like once it all was in my face, I was like, yo, it just took a lot out of me, and I started feeling hopeless. And then I found myself back in my neighborhood more and more and more. Whereas when he was alive, I was always busy. I had something to do. When he wasn't around, it wasn't a lot of work. You know,
Yeah.
I'm back on the block with the guys. You know what I'm saying? And then everything just spiraled out of control from there. And then I ended up in prison.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And when that happened, did you, I know, uh, not from serving time, but I know from a lot of people I know that have been incarcerated, especially going to prison,
Mm-hmm.
that there is an adjustment, but then some people never adjust. Some people adjust quickly. Some people turn their lives around. Some people become more of a criminal than they were ever before.
Yeah.
So, like, what was your initial uh evolution? Was it like what happened?
So inside of there, I was maybe like after my first year. The first year, I just kept getting in trouble, bro. Like I was always bumping heads with the COs, the correctional officers, ending up in a hole for the dumbest shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then after a while, I already had 3 kids, and then I had one while I was inside, and I'm thinking about my babies, and I'm just like, yo, I want to go home because I had a date. In prison is so tricky that you don't know if you can go in with 6 months and get killed and never make it home. You can go in with 6 months and catch 20 years. You know what I mean? By virtue of the people that you have to surround yourself with, and the protection and all the things that come along with being a part of a group in prison, being black, Mexican, white, whatever. So bam, after the first year, the last time I went to the hole, I sat in my cell, I contemplated, and I just said, let me take this, let me start over again. Let me take everything slow. So I remember one time I came out to the yard, and I came through this corridor, and I just looked out, and I just watched what everybody was doing. And I'm like, damn, they over here gambling. They over here telling war stories, drinking wine. And then, as I looked across the yard, I see the Muslims. They over there smiling, they reading. And then I knew all these guys already because they all ex-gang members, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them tatted up all in the face, all the shit. So I said, let me go start working out. So I start working out with them, having little debates with them, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm watching their behavior the whole time. I'm seeing like how real they are about what they're into, like if they're pretending or not. So I see the consistency in their behavior and what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They never act, a lot of dudes in jail, they're up and down. You'll catch them in a good mood, mostly in the bad mood. You know what I mean? Like you think you cool with somebody, now we acting funny style. You like, man, I can't fuck with this dude. He ain't, the Muslims was more consistent in their behavior in the way that they were. So now I just gravitated towards that. Now I'm studying with them, I'm learning with them. And then once it just locked in for me, I became Muslim. And then once I became Muslim, I was just on a search for knowledge. So I go get my GED. I go check in the college. You know what I'm saying? All these different things, and I just became an avid reader.
Hmm.
And then through reading, self introspection, praying, I just started developing a different type of character and things like that. And that was, for me, that was the turning point. And that was around 2000, 2001.